Well, hello and welcome to our program tonight. It is always so good to have you with us. For our attendance report, last week we had 144 people. Pretty good. Almost 1,000 non-concurrents. And I'd like to take a minute. We've had a lot of new friends entering the chat room with us lately. I'd like to welcome all of you who are new to the program, especially those of you watching in India. A couple of comments let me know that y'all must be roughly 12 hours ahead of us on the time zone thing. So, welcome to the program. I understand you watching the morning over there. And had some people from the Philippines, had some people from Brazil. And probably a lot of people that don't, not everybody chats, so we don't know where everybody would be. But if you want to leave where you're from in the chat down there, all of us would love to see where all we're represented from. I'm in North Carolina, USA. But just always good to have you with us. Something I'd like to mention, but before we get to the musical part of our program, next week we had talked about maybe once a month doing an all request show. And I'll talk less and play more music. So if you want to leave your requests down in the chat room tonight, I can't promise I'll get to all of them because there's only so many we can do. Even with adding songs to the show, there's only so many we can do. But the ones I get the most requests for, I will try to do next week. So anyway, get your request in. And without further ado, we'll just get to the musical portion of our program for this evening. We're going to start off tonight with a song written by Hurtist Millsap. Very little is known about Hurtist. We think he lived in Georgia, and he wrote this song in 1940. I put it on my Lord Build Me a Cabin in the Corner of Gloryland album. And since I really don't have a lot to tell you about this guy other than his name, let's just go ahead and sing it. I've got that old-time religion in my heart.
I'm glad Jesus came, glory to his name. Oh, what a friend is he. He so freely gave his own life to save from bonds of sin set free. I've got that old-time religion in my heart. Oh, wait. Down inside, I've got a new kind of feeling in my heart, the joys of life. Nobody knows what it means to me. Nobody knows but my Lord and me. I've got that old-time religion in my heart. Oh, wait, down inside. What a joy to know one who loves us so. He is so kind and true. He has changed my life from all sin and strife. He'll do the same for you. I've got that old-time religion in my heart. Oh, wait, down inside. I've got a new kind of feeling in my heart, the joys of life. Nobody knows what it means to me. Nobody knows but my Lord and me. I've got that old-time religion in my heart. Oh, wait, down inside. Now humbly to him bow, just let the Lord come in. You'll find perfect peace, joy will never cease. You shall the life crown win. I've got that old-time religion in my heart. Oh, wait, down inside. I've got a new kind of feeling in my heart, joys of life. Nobody knows what it means to me. Nobody knows but my Lord and me. I've got that old time religion in my heart, way down inside. I've got that old time religion in my heart, way down inside. I've got a new kind of feeling in my heart, the joys of life. Nobody knows what it means to me. Nobody knows but my Lord and me. I've got that old time religion in my heart, way down inside.
Stuart Hamblin, like myself, was a prodigal son. His father was a Methodist minister. Mine was a Baptist. But I feel a kinship to this guy. We both were entertainers all of our life. Stuart was the first singing cowboy. He might not have been the most popular, but he was the first one that we know of. He had a show in 1926 on radio that featured him singing cowboy songs, and he began to write songs, and he wrote such songs as Open Up Your Heart and Let the Sun Shine In. He wrote This Old House, and he wrote this song. This song he wrote in 1950, and the story goes that he had been sort of he had done movies with Roy Rogers and Gene Autry and John Wayne. John Wayne and he were big buddies, among others. So he was in the movie business and he was in the song business, and rather successful during all this time. So in the late 40s, he was doing a radio show, and a young evangelist came to town named Billy Graham. And he said he invited Billy onto the radio show as much as anything to poke a little fun at him, because Billy was not as well known then as he became. As a matter of fact, he attributes some of his, or a great deal of his popularity to Stuart Hamblin, and he and Hamblin developing that relationship where he was on the radio with him from time to time. But anyway, during that first conversation, Stuart, I think, began to fall under conviction during the interview, and he asked Billy if he could come see him later, and he said, yeah. And of course, Billy invited him to the crusade. Well, he went to the crusade, and he wound up getting saved, and he and Billy had a couple of meetings, and, they talked and what have you. But after Billy went on those shows, all of a sudden, his camp meetings began to be big meetings. And I believe this was 1963 when Billy was telling this story. He said, just things began to change when I met this guy. But anyway, so he winds up getting saved. And he and John Wayne had been big partiers, they were drinking buddies, they were hunting buddies, they did a lot of stuff together. And he said one evening at some meeting, some get together, John offered him and said, I haven't been seeing you much lately. He said, I hear you got religion. He said, you don't miss all of our partying and everything? And in the process, he's offering him a drink. And Hamblin said, no, I don't miss all of that. It's no secret what God can do. And John looked at him and he said, I'll bet there's a song right there. Well, not long after this, his radio show had been taken from him because after he got saved, he refused to read the beer commercials, so they fired him. So he's wondering, okay, well, I just bought this new house and my entertainment career is stalling it turned out to be momentary, but there was a stall there. He wondered how he's going to pay for his house. So he's sitting in his study one night, and all of a sudden the chimes on his clock go off. It's about midnight. And suddenly this song starts to form. The chimes of time ring out the news. Another day is through. And he said, really, the song wrote itself. He just sat there and wrote the verses out and said, the royalties from this song paid for his house. So, it truly is no secret what God can do.
The chimes of time ring out the news, another day is through. Someone slipped and fell. Was that someone you? You may have longed for added strength, your courage to renew. Do not be disheartened, for I bring hope to you. It is no secret what God can do, what He's done for others, He'll do for you. With arms wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do. There is no night, for in His light you'll never walk alone. Always feel at home wherever you may roam. There is no power can conquer you while God is on your side. Just take Him at His promise. Don't run away and hide. It is no secret what God can do, what He's done for others, He'll do for you. With arms wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do. It is no secret what God can do, what He's done for others, He'll do for you. With arms wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do. It is no secret what God can do.
For this next song tonight, I'm going to do you a song that was taken from my How Beautiful Heaven Must Be album. This song was written by a man named Albert Brumley. Albert Brumley was born in 1905 in Oklahoma, and his father was a farmer. And Albert became a very prolific songwriter. He had over 600 songs published, and most of them were gospel songs. Songs like Turn Your Radio On, Jesus Hold My Hand, many others. But this was probably his most popular, and it's in the upper echelon of gospel songs. It's up there with Sweet By and By and Amazing Grace and that ilk of song. But he said he was in the cotton patch picking cotton in 1929, and the melody and the words of a popular song at that time, which we think was the Prisoner song, had a reference in there of with the wings of an angel over these prison bars I will fly. And so he said he realized he could take that and use prison as a metaphor for being trapped in this life. You know, being here on earth is kind of like being in a prison of a sort, because we're waiting to go to heaven, you know, which is our home. And so that phrase became like a bird from prison bars has flown, I'll fly away. But anyway, so it took him about 3 years to perfect the song, and in 1932, it was finally published. And he went on to work for Hartford and Stamp Baxter publishing companies. He was a staff writer for some 34 years, and he was also a music teacher in the Ozarks. So he lived a life of music and writing and what have you. But tonight we're going to do our version of that great old song for you, I'll Fly Away.
Some glad morning when this life is old, I'll fly away to that home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life have grown, I'll fly away. Like a bird from prison bars has flown, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Yes, I'll fly away.
Tonight, for just a minute, I want to talk about making good choices. That's a good way to set yourself up for a happier life, I can tell you that. And one of the places that we can go for some wonderful wisdom is the Bible. 2 Timothy 2:15 says something to the effect, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. I think I got most of that right, but I got the idea right anyway. It teaches us to be knowledgeable, truth withstands scrutiny. Now, what I mean by that, true is going to be true no matter how you look at it, no matter how you discuss it, no matter how you turn it, no matter how you spin it, the truth will still be true. There's no such thing as an alternate fact. There's one fact. That's the true fact. You don't get to just make up things the way that you wish they were. Things are the way they are. And once we understand that and we realize that and we start to gain that knowledge, we're equipped to make better decisions. It also has to do with how we look at things, how we choose to, we can choose a happier life just by seeing a glass as half full instead of half empty. Same amount of water, same glass. But if you choose to see the happier side of life, most of us have some, particularly us older folks, we have some kind of low-grade pains that we deal with. Some people deal with more pain than others, and I feel for that. I know Linda has chronic back problems, and it hurts me to watch her walk sometime. Sometimes I wish I could do it for her, But anyway, she just has this wonderful way of looking at life, and she gets up and goes and does stuff anyway. Sometimes I wish she wouldn't. Sometimes I wish she'd slow down a little bit, But she just keeps going, and her attitude, does she have low moments? Sure she does. But by and large, we laugh about things, and we just carry on with life, and we have a reasonably happy life, largely because of the way we look at things. We don't have a lot. We're not millionaires. We're not. We're barely thousandaires. But it's not the amount of money you have. Your riches are not counted in dollars. A lot of people don't understand this. If you got a family that loves you, if you got animals that love you, if you have a roof over your head, if you have a way to get around, if you have food, you are blessed. So many people in the world don't even have those things. So you can complain about the car you have, or you can be thankful that you have a car in the first place, that kind of thing. So a lot of it just has to do with attitude. But if we make the right choices, choose our friends wisely. Choose your employment wisely. Find something, particularly you younger folks. Find something you love to do and then study. Get good at it. If you learn to make a living at something that you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. I didn't come up with that. Somebody else said that, but it's true. I assure you, I have done some sweat and toil in my life in the music business, but I loved it. I loved what I was doing. In the early days, we had to handle our own equipment and move them in and out of a bus and all that. We eventually graduated to the point where we had road people that would help us with that sort of stuff. And, life got a little bit easier as time went on. But it had to do with choices. I would not go back and change. There's some things I would change that I did in my life. I would not do those things again because I'm not proud of what they were. But I would not choose a different profession. No matter how many nights I was on a cold bus because the heater had quit, or how wet we would get moving stuff in and out when it was rain. All of that stuff just came with the territory. But I love to play music. So anyway, I would just encourage, particularly those of you that are young. But if you're older, it's possible to change what you're doing. If you like something better, study it. Get good at it. YouTube will teach you an awful lot, even if you can't afford to go to college. Some things require college, some things don't. But find something you love to do. Make good choices in life. Now, the reward for making good choices is you are going to have a happier life. All things being relative, you make good choices, you will have a happier life. Will you always be ecstatic? Absolutely not. Sometimes you're going to have a flat tire and it's going to aggravate you to death because it will always be at the wrong time. It will always be when it's raining. Not always, but you know what I'm saying. It just seems like there are things in life that slip up on us. So you're not going to be ecstatic all the time. But generally speaking, if you make good decisions, you're going to have a happier life. And one good decision you can make is to start reading the Bible, particularly the words in red, and pay attention to what Jesus tells you, because he's got the way to live. If you live like he explains for you to live, I can assure you that the most joy in my whole life came after I gave my life to Jesus and said, okay, you drive. I'll ride in the buddy seat. After that moment, life got a whole lot better. Flat tires still aggravate me to death. But you just laugh about it, change the tire, and move on, Anyway, so that's my take on making good choices in life. And here's to you making good choices and having a happier life in 2021. This next song I'm going to do tonight is from my How Beautiful Heaven Must Be CD. This song was written, or actually it was published in 1949. It started being written in 1945. But a fellow named Ira Stanfill was in a meeting in Dallas, Texas one night. It was an evangelical meeting, and a businessman got up to speak. And he told this story. He said his business was not doing well, and he was kind of depressed one afternoon, so he decided to get in his car and take a ride. So he goes on this ride, and he kept getting further and further off the beaten track, and he got out on this little dirt road, and he comes upon this little girl standing in front of this house that wasn't much, and she had a little doll in her hand that was kind of tattered, but she seemed okay with it all. She seemed quite happy, and he just had to stop and ask her, said, "Sweetie, how can you be so happy when you live like this?" Here he was feeling a little bit depressed because his business wasn't doing so well, though he was a successful businessman, so he had plenty. But she said, "'Cause my daddy just came into some money, and one day he said he's going to build us a house over that hill right there." And Ira said he went away from the meeting that night just so impressed by that story, because the man went on to tell how, he put his faith back in God, and he quit worrying about the business. And obviously he probably worked toward getting it back on track, but nonetheless he became successful again. So Ira wrote this song to help us have faith in our Father, that he's going to take care of business. As long as we take care of our end of the business, he'll take care of his end of the business. Now, he doesn't want to do it all. He wants you and I to do some too. So we have to be responsible. We have to make good decisions. We have to not do stupid stuff. He gave us common sense so we don't do stupid stuff. But anyway, Ira wrote this great song. Like I said, he started writing it in 1945, but it was published in 1949. It's called "I've Got a Mansion Just Over the Hilltop."
I'm satisfied with just a cottage below, a little silver and a little gold. But in that city where the ransomed will shine, I want a gold one, that silver line. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold. Though often tempted, tormented and tested, and like the prophet, my pillow was stone. And though I find here no permanent dwelling, I know he'll give me a mansion my own. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold. Don't think me poor or deserted or lonely. I'm not discouraged, I'm heaven bound. I'm just a pilgrim in search of a city. I want a mansion, a harp and a crown. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold.
This next song I'm going to do for you tonight is going to slow it down just a little bit. When I first started doing this program on Friday nights, this was one of the songs that people started requesting. It was not in my repertoire at that time. But since then we've had time to record it and make a video of it. And it was written by a man named Jim Hill. Jim Hill worked with several quartets, among which were the Statesmen and others. But Jim wrote this song in the mid-1900s, thereabout, maybe just a little later. And it just went on to be one of those songs that caught on, and a lot of people have loved this song. The Gaithers did a version, the Cathedrals did a version, the Chuck Wagon Gang did a version. Several people have done versions of this song. And obviously I did this version just for you folks, because it was one of those that you requested. But we're going to do our version for you tonight, and it's that wonderful old song called What a Day That Will Be.
There is coming a day when no heartache shall come, no more clouds in the sky, no more tears to dim the eye. All is peace forevermore on that happy golden shore. What a day, glorious day that will be. What a day that will be, when my Jesus I shall see, and I look upon his face, the one who saved me by his grace. When he takes me by the hand and leads me through the promised land. What a day, glorious day that will be. There'll be no sorrow there, more burdens to bear, no more sickness no more pain, no more parting over there, and forever I will be with the one who died for me. What a day, glorious day that will be. What a day that will be, when my Jesus I shall see, and I look upon his face, the one who saved me by his grace. When he takes me by the hand and leads me through the promised land. What a day, glorious day that will be. What a day that will be, when my Jesus I shall see, and I look upon his face, the one who saved me by his grace. When he takes me by the hand and leads me through the promised land. What a day, glorious day that will be. What a day, glorious day that will be. What a day, glorious day that will be.
This next song I'm going to do for you tonight was a song that was written by Johnson Oatman at the turn of the century. And Johnson wrote some 3,000 songs, gospel songs in his lifetime. He felt like that was his calling. And my wife kept wanting me to do this song. And I liked the song okay, but I don't know that I would have picked it as early as I did. But it wound up on my Lord Build Me a Cabin in the Corner of Glory Land CD. And I'm glad I recorded it because a lot of people have liked this song. But it's a song that, if we, sometime at night, instead of counting sheep, if we would count our blessings, we might sleep a little bit better. Sometimes we tend to complain more than we thank God for our blessings. But I can just tell you at 75, I wake up every morning, I thank God for one more day. But anyway, if we would learn to be thankful instead of complaining all the time, you'd be surprised how that alone will change your outlook on life, and it'll give you a better life. But we're going to do our version of this great old song for you tonight. It's called Count Your Blessings.
When upon life's billows you are tempest tossed, when you are discouraged thinking all is lost, count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. Are you ever burdened with a load of care? Does the cross seem heavy you are called to bear? Count your many blessings, every doubt will fly, and you will be singing as the days go by. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. When you look at others with their land and gold, think that Christ has promised you his wealth untold. Count your many blessings money cannot buy, your reward in heaven nor your home on high. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. So amid the conflict, whether great or small, do not be discouraged, God is over all. Count your many blessings, angels will attend, help and comfort give you to your journey's end. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done.
Right now, I just want to remind you about our website, www.birdyeomans.com. All my CDs are there. My double CDs are there. My songbook's there. There's a couple of specials that we have there. And just want to invite you to come by and take a look at it. If you have any questions, my wife Linda will be glad to help you. Her email address is linda@birdyeomans.com. And thank you so much for being a part of our program. And now we're just going to get you back to the musical portion of the show. Well, it has come time for our final song tonight, and I'm going to wind up this evening with a song written by James Milton Black in 1893. I was on my second album and I was looking for songs to do, and I had come up with the idea of using a female backup that I double-tracked and turned into sort of a chorus type thing or choir type thing. And so I had met Anita Bray and Carol Westbrook May, and they agreed to help me do this, along with another friend. I believe her name was Sharon, but I can't remember. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, they agreed to help me, and unfortunately, I wish I had them singing this with me. But we only recorded 3 songs. We only videoed 3 songs back when we were recording this, and I wish I had videoed all of them. You know, I guess I intended to eventually get to them, but life gets in the way, time gets in the way, and now I don't know if we'll ever be able to get together all at the same time to finish this out. We may. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I'm going to do this one for you alone tonight, but you'll hear the ladies in the background singing their wonderful harmony. But we're going to wind up the evening with "When the Roll is Called Up Yonder, I'll Be There."
When the trumpet of the Lord shall sound and time shall be no more, and the morning breaks eternal, bright and fair, when the saved of earth shall gather over on the other shore, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. On that bright and cloudless morning, when the dead in Christ shall rise, and the glory of his resurrection share, when his chosen ones shall gather to their home beyond the skies, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. Let us labor for the Master from the dawn till setting sun. Let us talk of all His wondrous love and care. And when all of life is over and our work on earth is done, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. Oh, when the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there.
Thank you so much for being with us. It's just always a joy and I look forward to Friday nights just to get to chat with people, and it's gotten good how everybody comes in looking for each other. You know, the ones who've been here a while, and everybody always welcomes the newcomers, and we'd encourage you to join in the chat with us. You know, let us know where you're from and things like that. Don't forget, next week is going to be all request night, so get your requests in, and I'll make a note of it, and the songs I get the most requests for are the ones I'll play for next week. But if you get a chance and you're interested in any of our CDs or the book, my website is www.birdyeomans.com. And of course, my wife Linda is always ready to help you with any questions that you might have if you need some guidance on how to use the website. Thanks again for being with us. Be kind to each other this week. I love you. I'll see you next Friday night.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing God's